Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Crypto Tips. My name is Heidi, and today we are going to be talking about what no one is saying about Blockfi. We're going to be talking about the risks, the fees, and the reviews. So let's get into it. So the irony of this video, especially if you watched my last video giving a tutorial on how to lend your Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, how to earn a passive income using Blockfi. If you saw the comments of that video, there's a lot of Celsius fanboys out there. Maybe it's justified, maybe it's not, but today we're talking about all of the things that people aren't saying about Blockfi. Before I get into it, I do have to say, at least this, is that Blockfi was established in 2017. For those of you who are very new to cryptocurrency, that was, when the last bull run was really kicking in. And it had, after that bull run went out in 2018, we had a good 2.5 years of like a cold crypto winter, of which Blockfi had survived. So that does certainly lend itself to the survivability rate of Blockfi in the near future. It certainly, lends itself to thinking that Blockfi is not necessarily a scam like most people are portraying it to be. Because if you're new to crypto, here's a bone for you. The scams are only around for the good times, right? They're only around when the bull runs are pumping. Like right now, scams are everywhere. So for a platform to still hang around this long, it does mean something, and there is some merits for that, certainly. Also, what I will say about Blockfi, in my personal experience, it is a very user-friendly website, very clean interface, very simple how to deposit and how to start earning a passive income with Blockfi. So for those of you who aren't necessarily super tech savvy or, super into this whole crypto space, it's a really easy way to do so. But with all of that being said, there are definitely some risks to be aware of. And sadly, these risks aren't necessarily being portrayed or displayed at all on Blockfi's website, which to me is, it puts a bad taste in my mouth, and rightfully so. So we're going to go over those risks. We're going to go over the new fee schedule for those of you who want to lend your Bitcoin and Ethereum on Blockfi. Those changes will happen on April 1st. And then I'm going to read over some of the reviews of Blockfi. So let's get into it. First off, it is labeled literally, if you are depositing cryptocurrencies onto Blockfi to earn a passive income in the form of interest, you are interacting with what is called the BIA, the Blockfi Interest Account. That name is definitely lending itself to the thought of it's just like an interest accruing account. Literally what you're doing is you're sending your coins to Blockfi, and they are using those coins to lend out to other people. Or at least, that's their business model that they have portrayed on their website. Also, there's this kind of assumption that the partnership that Blockfi has with Gemini being a fully regulated, insured, I believe, exchange that is doing the custodianship for Blockfi. Here's the thing. That connection makes a lot of people think that their Blockfi or their BIA, their Blockfi interest account, is therefore insured. It is not. Because the only thing that is insured on Gemini are the funds that are stored in their cold storage. Now, that's great. But again, remember that these funds that you're depositing onto Blockfi, the only reason you would be earning any kind of interest is because theoretically or literally, hopefully literally, they are lending those coins out, and the people who are borrowing those coins are paying interest, and that interest is then trickled down onto you. That means that those coins aren't being stored in the cold storage of Gemini. That means that those coins are not insured. Very important point there. Now let's talk about this whole business model of Blockfi of, in a perfect world, in a Blockfi perfect world, or any of these type platforms, CeFi, perfect world, there would be an equal amount of people who want to lend coins with an equal amount of people who want to borrow those coins, because the interest being paid by those who are borrowing is then passed on to those who are lending. The truth of the matter is there are far more people wanting to and are currently lending their coins than those who are interested in borrowing them. That means basically BlockFi has to pay a lot of people a lot of interest, and it's not necessarily coming from those who are borrowing from BlockFi. Where is the profit coming from BlockFi? That is something that is not transparent actually whatsoever on BlockFi. It's not anywhere found on their website, which is actually the point of sale where people are making these decisions if they should be depositing onto BlockFi. And that to me is a huge fallacy. Like, you should put that, you know, if you're going to go the honest route, the real route, that's where that information should be. Their defense for that, obviously, is they have a lot of competitors, and so they want to keep it secret what they're doing. So basically, BlockFi has like this secret sauce kind of a way. I don't know what they're doing with the funds, if they're trading it, if they're lending it, what's happening. Regardless, people are being paid this interest, and it's just really not clear where that profit is coming from. They did recently raise about $350 million. So, you know, now they're kind of coming out publicly saying, oh, we are a profitable business. When in reality, you know, they should have been a profitable business at the get-go. But again, because of that disequilibrium between the borrowers and lenders, it probably put them in a tight spot. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, you know, after this bull run, and when a bear market returns, it'll be interesting to see. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So everything I just talked about is definitely something I think you should consider, especially if you are considering depositing coins onto BlockFi. As I disclosed in my previous how-to tutorial video of how to use BlockFi to gain a passive income, I personally will be using BlockFi, not for all of my cryptocurrencies by any means, not for the cryptocurrencies that I plan to hold for the very, very, very long term, like Bitcoin or Ethereum. Personally, Toby and I, if you know Toby, my husband, we will be taking our profits from these other really risky altcoins, kind of writing the profits that come from a bull market, taking those profits, putting them into a stable coin like USDC, and then using those funds to, not 100% of those funds, mind you, to BlockFi. We're going to try out a couple of these different platforms. Again, Celsius is something we're looking into, other DeFi options like Aave and Compound as well. And I do realize that we are quite blessed to be able to have this kind of experimental thing happening with our profits, but it is what it is. So if you're new to crypto and you're still trying to, like, you know, get a good position in crypto, accumulate more, this could be a risky scenario, but you're really going to have to judge that for yourself. And as always, take responsibility for what you're doing with your crypto. And that's bringing me, again, phasing into the fees and the interest being paid by BlockFi is, you know, when you're taking into account the risks involved, which really the risks are only there because of really their lack of transparency. Maybe this will change in their near future. Maybe their users will start demanding more transparency. That would be amazing. Free market coming in. Anyway, there is some relative risk, obviously, with BlockFi. Anytime you're giving custodianship of your coins to a different platform, there's risk, there's trust involved. And with that trust is risk, obviously. So the amount of risk involved compared to, let's say, the amount of interest you'd be paid on your coins, you're going to have to balance that opportunity cost and the risk analysis yourself to see if, you know, it's worth it. So let's talk about the fees and the interest payments of BlockFi. They do let you know that it is a variable percentage that they're quoting you, and you'll see them displayed right now, the interest rates for BlockFi, depending on which coin you choose to deposit to earn an interest on. Obviously, you get a much better percentage on stable coins rather than things like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or the other options that they have. So definitely keep that in mind as well. I think if you're going to take a risk, might as well get as much interest paid to you as possible. But what is changing is now the interest being paid on Ethereum and Bitcoin specifically on April 1st. They're dropping the rates, really, for those who want to deposit, like, you know, plus 20 Bitcoin or so. It's a drastic decrease of percentage. I don't think it's affecting the stable coins because they're just specifically mentioning Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you can check out those as well, displayed for you here. Also, one thing to know about the payments that you should be expecting with Blockfi is that the interest rates are they're adjusted daily, but your interest payments are paid out to you monthly. So if you send your coins to Blockfi, you're not going to be able to see any profit from that or withdraw anything until it's been at least 1 month. Also, you are allowed one free crypto withdrawal and one free stable coin withdrawal from Blockfi each month. Anything more than that, and they will be charging a fee. So please pay attention to the different fees for the different coins. They could be, drastically different in price based on which coin it is. And also there is a minimum to withdrawal from Blockfi. With Bitcoin, it is 0.003 Bitcoin. And with Ethereum, it is 0.056 Ethereum. Now this withdrawal minimum is set by Gemini. And they do say, so it's like a minimum, but they do say if you try to withdraw even less than this, it could be subjected to a 30-day wait time to process that transaction. So I'm not sure if that's like a hard limit or not. But anyway, just be aware of that. There is no minimum to deposit on Blockfi. So, you could do a tiny amount, but just keep in mind that if you want to withdraw it, it's going to have to grow a long time. So I think that's why Blockfi is getting, kind of like being portrayed as a scam, fair enough, perhaps. Like they'll take any money they can, but they won't necessarily pay out unless it's a certain threshold. And again, they have that asterisk on their website of the withdrawal limits that if it's less than the minimum required, it could take up to 30 days. So please be aware of that. All right, now let's move on to the reviews of Blockfi. It is very mixed. It's kind of bipolar reviews. Some people are singing its praises to the highest accord, and some people just couldn't throw more dirt on it. So another thing I noticed is actually a lot of these negative reviews are from people who didn't actually use the platform. It's just from people who read a bad review and then left another bad review on top of it. So that's something to take into account. But I did find one negative review that seemed to be pretty well thought out and logical. So I'm going to go ahead and read it for you now. This was left on February 18th, 2021. So, a little over a month ago from the time of this recording. He makes 3 points. The first one being the platform goes offline during high volatility, which is very typical of any centralized exchange on, during a bull market or bear market when the prices are skyrocketing and at the same time when they're crashing like crazy. Binance, Bitfinex, a lot of these are very famous for having this. But anyway, they also say if Blockfi can't handle risk managing downside volatility without pulling the plug on its platform, it should at least disclose it. So it could be like it could be almost like a DDoS attack where there's so many people trying to use the platform at the same time it crashes the servers. We don't know that it's necessarily purposeful, although there is certainly some arguments on both sides for that. The next point they make is sources of return are not clear. Exactly. That's what I pointed out earlier. Is Blockfi funding interest payments via new equity investments, realizing successful retail loans, or somehow making 4 to 6% posting collateral for savvy institutions? Why is there no clarity to the breakdown of sources of return? Absolutely. I think that's the best point they made here. And I think that's the most important point that Blockfi could certainly has a lot of room to improve, especially if they want to, be around as long as they can. A lot of people in the crypto space are very educated and very savvy and can't necessarily get away with things as good as you could otherwise. Regulations or not, the free market is pretty cool in the crypto space in that regard. And the third thing that they say here is customer service follows up with me literally over a week after multiple calls and emails. I've also seen multiple reviews saying the customer service is great. So again, that's kind of a bipolar review. I don't know if you have to do it at like a certain time of week or catch the right person or what's happening, but seems to be a little bit of a fallout from the customer service of Blockfi, but that's the same across the board, especially during a bull run when, you know, they're probably flooded with people trying to ask questions and they have a limited staff. It's just, it comes with the territory. And he ends it by saying some users would have literally added a couple zeros to the amount held at Blockfi if some of these matters were more clear. That's true. I think a lot of people would deposit much more money onto Blockfi if they knew a lot more about what was happening, and then, you know, just be more transparent and people can feel more comfortable depositing more money onto it. And then they also say either Blockfi is an institutional quality crypto bank with adequate back office, or it's a fly-by-night crypto shop. Again, I think the fact that it was, you know, launched in 2017 and it's still been around this long, that does say something for it. So maybe they can just clean up their you know, transparency a little bit. That'd be great. So anyway, that is everything that no one is saying about Blockfi except for this last review. Obviously, someone is saying about it, so that's good. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. Next up, we'll be covering Celsius. Just like this one, I will be kicking it off with a tutorial on how to use Celsius and then following up with, you know, what people aren't saying about it, what you should be aware of, and all about Celsius. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, because it turns out, guys, over like 55 or 60% of people who are watching these videos aren't subscribed. So if you keep watching it, just hit the subscribe button with the bell notification, and you can get notified when more videos like this come out, so you can be a more educated investor and, you know, user of this cryptocurrency space, and you'll be well on your way to interacting with this whole space like a pro. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon. Catch you later.